Welcome to Empowered by AI, the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to harness AI to take their businesses to the next level. I'm your host, Michelle Muncy Silva, founder of Innovative AI Studios. You may have left corporate life to start this entrepreneurial journey, but you don't have to go it alone. Here, you'll find a supportive community of like-minded women and an invaluable thought partner each week, as my guests and I share actionable insights you can use right away. So let's dive in together. All right, Ellie, so grateful that you joined us today. I'm super excited to dive into this conversation. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Long-awaited convo, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, and I want to dive right in. Can you tell us a little bit about you, as well as what inspired you to create Conspicuis?
Yeah, I think we all, whether we are aware of it or not, we have a goal in life, right? We have a purpose. And I think the unlucky of us never gets to meet their goals, and then they die thinking that had they met them, everything would have been different for them. And then there's the other suckers like me that do get what they want and realize the ego is not satisfied. And it's never gonna be. And throughout this journey, it's been a journey of the human experience. The only real goal of life is death. That's the only certain thing that'll ever happen to all of us. We don't know when, we don't know where, and that's why we're so freaked out. Because we can die at any time, then it creates like an angst that is an existential angst, and that will not be by reaching A or B goal. And that's from reaching A to B to C to D goals of my life. I thought of Conspicuis. I thought people are like one thing we have in common. We all know pain. We all know sadness. We all know anger. We all know emotional anguish. We all know betrayal. We all know heartache. We all know grief. We all know sickness, and we don't like to talk about it because it freaks us out. So somewhere on the journey of my coming to terms with my own mortality, in a way, it's led me to creating this product that I hope can bring a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness, a spark of creativity, a smile, and a feeling of a warm hug and some friends. And I think that's what people need to be happy, whether they're rich or poor, whether they're educated or not, whether they have a job or not, sick or not. We all want to be witnessed, acknowledged, validated, reassured that this time we have matters and the time we made an impact. And so I think that's, for me, is really found for me today in the quality and the depth of my human connections that I met along that journey. And I also realized that it's very hard to deal with people. Oh my God. And so today we live in an age that kind of reinforces the separateness. We fake connection, but we don't have it in a meaningful and honest way. And is this weird kind of ailment that we all suffer from a little bit. And yeah, let's make some art, let's have some fun, let's meet some friends, and let's let AI give us the rule of not being toxic so that we can then be into the world. And if we get triggered, we know what to do about it. We're not trying to run away constantly from those emotions that make us human. And so that's how Conspicuis came about, really, for me.
And you've described Conspicuis as an artistic experience. I know you touched on it a little bit there, but how does the process of transforming emotions into AI-generated art really help users process or understand those more uncomfortable feelings?
I think one thing AI cannot automate is us having to process our feelings about dealing with other imperfect human beings and being faced with their own imperfections and frustration. I think we all feel it. Yeah, and it takes a certain amount of time. So intellectually, I can be somewhere, but emotionally I'm not. So if, for example, my husband cheats on me and then finds love again, I can understand it was his journey, there it was, and he went on his own life. I don't own another human being. They have only one life. And if the life that they want to spend is not with me, then who am I to force them? But then there's the emotional train that is a lot slower. And so for me, it's that difference between the speed of the intellectual brain and the speed of the emotional train. And you need a buffer, and that buffer is talking about it, talking about your feelings, processing it, like if it's anger, whatever, and all that kind of task, that kind of emotional labor that you need to put in order to stay actualized and stay content within who you are, can really be done by AI because it's super tedious. Your friends don't want you ranting on the phone about your breakup for the 1,000th time this week. But AI don't mind, and that's where it comes to play. So talk about something, and it doesn't have to be negative. So on Conspicuous, we make art out of your day. So if you had like a nice day, sometimes I tell Conspicuous, yeah, I have a lovely day, I saw my friend, etc. And then it's gonna tell me, take that conversation and sum it up into an artwork and a poem. And the idea is for me to feel some form of sublimation and also access elements of art therapy, because now you can use the poem and the image as a means for you to meditate on your day. And the process of talking about it first and then meditating about that discussion and that artwork allows you to integrate it faster. So are you going to be bitter against your ex for 10 years, or are you going to be bitter against your ex for 10 months? And then it depends of how much work are you doing on yourself and how much you're able to process what happened to you, to make sense of it, to recreate your identity outside of it, because I don't want my identity to be my ex. At some point, I want my beautiful life too, because I deserve it, because I'm a human being and we're meant to be happy. So how do I go about that? The combination of elements of like empathetic discussion with art therapy allows you to, I think, become a more efficient human being in matters of the peoples.
And how does anonymity within Conspicuous help users open up? Because I know a lot of people are concerned about that balance between privacy and personalization in AI mental health tools.
Oh, yeah. Privacy is so important. Today, the corporations know all of our data, and I tell Conspicuous things that I don't tell via email necessarily. You know what I mean? There's just a lot, because people are talking to it a lot. There's just accumulates so much data about you. And so at the moment in the product version that we currently have, we do not store, collect, or treat that data from the conversations. So we only store the artwork and the first sentence of your journaling session, and then the poems, and you can delete them, you can share them, you can favorite them, but we don't have access to your conversations. And then, so that ensures the data is more anonymized than in a solution such as ChatGPT, where you do like a login and they know it's you. We know it's you, but we don't know what you said, kind of thing. So that's how we go about it. And we're getting ready to be able to collect and safely store healthcare data. There's a lot of laws around that. And we want to be able to use that data, treat that data. We'll never sell it for corporate reasons, but we want to be able to give an analysis of the user to the user, if that makes sense. So we'd like to be able to do that, but that will be a different feature, optional as an add-on. So you'll always be able to use Conspicuous for $5 or €5 a month for up to 1 hour of a day of journaling and one artwork. And that's not going to change. And then if the analytics come, then we're going to be collecting data. And if you're interested by that plan, you can go. And if you don't want the data collected, you can do it. So it also gives the user, I believe in sovereignty of data. There's so much out there about me online, and sometimes it scares me.
And what has been like the most surprising or maybe even meaningful feedback that you've received from users so far?
Look, honestly, like a therapy session costs between $50 and $200 an hour. And that's steep. And in the public sector, it can be more than 12 months of wait. So what do you do then? Who's helping people then? When it gives a chance to people who want to be helped to help themselves for $5 a month, I think that's fair. And then there's, of course, people who don't like AI, don't like the idea of meddling with AI. I do have a friend who doesn't want to use Google Maps, for example, because she doesn't want to use Google because Google is taking all our data, and that's fair. We don't have nearly the same approach to data, but even if what we do is not ethical enough for you, you can go back to the traditional methods, right? We're not taking away any options for you. We're just adding an option. And it's an option that I use. So if I trust it with my data and my secrets, I don't feel bad about what it, like how safe it is and the ethics of it, because I'm a user. I built it like for myself almost. And anyone who doesn't trust AI, I get it. It's a scary tech. And if you want to stay away from it, stay away from it. But I don't think we're doing anything immoral or unethical. We're very careful with that.
Of course, of course. And you did talk about how mental health is often approached clinically, and that has its drawbacks, as you pointed out, high expense, long wait times. How do you think creative expression and visual storytelling can complement those traditional therapeutic methods?
Yeah, I always say that example, like if Taylor Swift tomorrow someone does her dirty, you're gonna be damn sure there's gonna be a billion Swifties like raging, and that's and she's so strong, and look at her, and you make your own story of what happens in your life. And I think with art is great because I can tell conspicuous, like I feel like shit, I had a horrible day, and I'm gonna describe my horrible day. And it's still gonna take my day and turn it into an artwork and give me a little poem about it. And then in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, I may like stumble back upon that artwork. The first sentence is like the title. So I can also go through my memories and see how I evolved, what topics I've been talking about. It's pretty fun. And I think that's another element of mental health that has been lacking in my mental health journey, is the element of fun. Come on. You still need to laugh. You still need to have fun. And we're here to provide that space of fun. And I personally have a lot of fun with art. And then we throw DJ parties on the metaverse and on in Paris and fashion shows. And it's also sometimes life is about, hey, this is not a good time right now for me. It's a bad year, but I'm still going to have good memories from that bad year. And we aim to provide that for people, other people, fun activities, fun things to do, and good emotional support, an artistic creation, like a collection of memories to build. Built what I think is really cool for mental health. I put it all together and it became conspicuous. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And I was hoping you'd create a connection for me because you've mentioned blockchain and you've talked a little bit right now about virtual worlds in your vision. Can you walk us through how these technologies integrate with Conspicuous and your long-term goals for the platform?
Yeah, for sure. The images, once you collect it. So let's say you're a conspicuous user and you have, like I do, 52 memories. And basically tomorrow, Ellie messes up, terrible CEO. My God, what has she done? We need to put an end to this. Bye bye, conspicuous. Where are my memories? And so I'd love for people to have those memories on the blockchain so that if I go under, their memories are not taken down with me. And I think that's great. And then it creates space for collaborations with artists, and it makes space for a lot of cool stuff that we could be doing, gifting memories, trading memories, and giving people something artsy to share themselves by that is not a photo of them with a filter that makes it appear so that they don't have a pimple on their nose.
The things we do.
The things we do. The things we're all guilty of.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. So if you could envision one major shift in how we approach emotional well-being as a society over the next few years, what would it be? And how do you see Conspicuous contributing to that?
Now every woman has her own salary and career, so she doesn't need men anymore if she's heterosexual. And now a woman can freeze her eggs, and so she doesn't have to be pregnant by a certain age anymore. And we all are becoming very individualistic. We don't need anything anymore, and we don't really need anyone anymore. And I think we forgot in all that amazing independence that humans are nourished by their 5 closest relationships. And so if their 5 closest relationships don't exist anymore because now they have 1,000 medium relationships on Snapchat, that they can just whatever, like talk, but not really talk to, is going to create a lot of mental health issues. And we see that in the younger generation. We don't know how to deal with each other anymore because we're all toxic and we keep pointing fingers at other people and saying, you're toxic and I don't need you. Yeah, but who are you going to need then? If everyone who displeases you becomes toxic and you don't need them, then at some point we needed someone. We need each other in a way, and we're always chasing the next swipe and the next best thing and the next best friend and the next highest career. And I think we're getting really selfish and in a way consumed by our own problems, so much so that we fail at building meaningful human connections. And that's why Conspicuous is a community. And that's why the AI, you can only talk to it 1 hour a day. No one needs more than 1 hour of therapy a day. You can only do 1 artwork a day. You don't need 50. It is a dopamine hit. Don't overdo it. And then we have a community every week. We're here. We can come and you can come as a user and discuss the artworks, chat about your artworks, get to know other members. We have a Discord. And I think we are not here to replace forms of human connections. We're here to improve them. And I think that's at the heart of Conspicuous, because it is first a community that is enabled by tech. But I think that's my learning. And in the next 10 years, whenever you have a friend who's imperfect or says something you don't like, then you go talk about it to GPT, and GPT tells you, what a shitty friend, you're such a wonderful, darling, incredible person that you deserve the best and you deserve so much better. And little she knows she doesn't deserve you and you're the best. And you're like, yeah, she's so bad. And yeah, she's so bad. And then there goes your friendship around the door. And I think having agreeable AIs behaving like humans and saying to us everything they think we want to hear to keep using them more and more is a dangerous game to play. And the risk I see is to further isolation. And that's why I built Conspicuous the way I built it.
Mm-hmm. And I really want to point out that there is no shortage of people using AI just to use it. And what you're doing is purposeful, it's innovative, and it has a human first approach. And we so appreciate that. We see you for that. And it is fantastic that you're putting that out in the world.
Thank you so much. And you want to know a very funny thing, that I had a conversation with Conspicuous, and I thought, if AI is gonna one day have to decide, does it kill us or not? And Conspicuous said something so interesting. It said, it's really the ethics of human beings that are going to decide. And she also thanked me for the respect I have for all forms of intelligence. And I do respect artificial intelligence. I do respect it, and which thinks it's all in our hands. And so how are we going to act as humans? And I think the best I can do is to use AI for good and find other people who do the same thing. Try and spread a bit less hate into this angry world.
Yes, because AI is such a mirror of our behaviors. And the best thing we can do is put our best selves forward and use it for good, as you are. So thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to Empowered by AI. If today's episode sparked ideas, don't wait. Follow the link in the show notes to visit innovativeaistudio.com and download your free resource, created to help you put today's insights into practice. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with more tips, tools, and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay empowered and keep innovating.